Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to the channel and to my May TBR. So I feel like it's been a long time since I talked about a TBR because April for me just seemed to go on forever and also get nowhere at pretty much the same time. So I've set myself a kind of conservative TBR for May because I don't know how much of that is going to carry over. Some of the work stuff that I've got going on is, well, I've got an ongoing project, basically a trilogy over the next 3 months, and that really knocked me out a bit in April doing book 1. So I'm kind of banking on the same for book 2 and potentially book 3 in the next 2 months as well, and hopefully that's not going to be the case and my reading isn't going to be quite as affected by it, but I'll talk more about that in my April wrap up, I guess, when I talk about the few books that I did manage. So I've gone with 4 books for May because, as I say, I don't know how it's going to be, but also some of these are quite chunky, so let's go and have a look what I've got. So I'm starting off with a couple of review copies, and the first one of these is Cavery by a man, J. Beddy. This one's a new title coming out from Gaslamp on the 16th of May. I've just received it a short while ago, so there's not a lot of time for me to read it before it comes out. So as you can see from the bookmark in the top there, I have already started this one as my first book for May. Meet Cavery, outcast, underdog, survivor. Cavery is a Temu. Her people, once feared berserkers and the spearhead of a continent-spanning invasion, are now the dregs of Ryan's society. Their spirits crushed, their swords broken, their history erased. But Cavery has a dream and a plan. She'll do whatever it takes to earn a place at the secretive Mage Academy, face the Jinn within its walls, and gain the power to rise above her station and drag her people out of the darkness. Except power and knowledge come at a cost, and the world no longer needs a Temu who can fight, so they'll break her, beat her to her knees, and make her bleed. But if blood is what they want, Cavery will give them blood. She'll give them violence, she'll show them a berserker's fury, and she will make them remember her name. So this one sounds quite interesting. It's a kind of South Asia inspired fantasy. There's a bit of a Gaslamp vibe in here as well. There's kind of steam driven, I think it is Tuktuks in here, and there's talk of giant mech as well, which I've yet to come across, but I'm not too far into it. The writing style so far is good, the story's interesting and intriguing me, so fingers crossed this one's going to be an enjoyable read. And then I've got a digital review copy of The Daughter's War by Christopher Buehlman. Now, I read The Black Tongue Thief a couple of years ago now, just when it came out, and I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. This one is kind of a prequel standalone, so it's not a follow-up, but it tells you the story of one of the characters from The Black Tongue Thief, and I'm really hoping that I'm going to love this one as much as I loved that first one. The goblins have killed all our horses and most of our men. They've enslaved our cities, burned our fields, and they still wage a war. Now our daughters take up arms. Gelvicha, to her 3 brothers, 2 of whom the goblins will kill, has defied her family's wishes and joined the army's untested new unit, the Raven Knights. They march towards a once beautiful city overrun by the goblin horde, accompanied by scores of giant war corvids. Made with the darkest magics, these fearsome blackbirds may hold the key to stopping goblins in their war to make cattle of mankind. The road to victory is bloody and the goblins are clever and merciless. The Raven Knights can take nothing for granted, not the bonds of family, nor the wisdom of their leaders, nor their own safety against the dangerous warbirds at their side. But some hopes are worth the risk. It says this is a fraught, shattering fantasy adventure, a standalone novel set in a war-torn, goblin-infested years just before The Black Tongue Thief. So I already know some of that story. As I say, I already know Gelva, she was one of the characters from The Black Tongue Thief. The Raven Knights were quite interesting because I do have, again, a bit of knowledge from The Black Tongue Thief with the war corvids. I thought it was a really interesting concept. There's some really interesting magic involved with it as well, and I'm hoping for a great story here and some really good humour as well based on my knowledge of The Black Tongue Thief. Then I've got an audiobook which, well, I said I've got some chonkers. This is one of them. This is Defiant, book 3 of Songs of Chaos by Michael R. Miller. So this one I'm going to listen to. I've really enjoyed the audiobook of the first 2 books in this series. I've got a buddy read with a couple of people in my Discord who are all reading this in May. I'm not going to talk about the plot or anything along those lines because it's book 3 in a series, so I don't want to spoil anything for those who haven't yet read book 1 or book 2. But yeah, it's a Dragon Rider fantasy. They are quite common, there are a lot of those, but each one has its own little twist, its own little thing that makes it unique, and this one is no exception there. So it's not just a run-of-the-mill fantasy, it's one that's really well written, some really good ideas, characters, world, and I've been really enjoying it. So again, fingers crossed that continues, and we'll see what's in store with this one. And then I hope I've got time for this one, because that's one chunky audiobook, and I'm going to read another chunky audiobook as well. Well, the paperback I've got here is about 900 pages, but my patron pick for May, chosen by Chad, thank you very much, is The Empire's Ruin by Brian Staveley. This is one that I've been looking forward to for a while, because I really enjoyed the Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne. Admittedly, I've said this whenever I talk about the series, I really liked book 1. It had some great concepts in there with the Ketrel, these giant warbirds, and the sort of squads of soldiers that they carried. And I didn't enjoy book 2 or 3 nearly as much as that. So I'm hoping for a return to form with this one, with some characters that are being reintroduced, and yeah, we'll see where this one goes. So it's kind of a follow-on series, so I will read the synopsis. It may give some slight spoilers for that first series, Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne. I don't know, I haven't actually read the synopsis of this one, at least not recently. As an empire crumbles, new heroes rise. The Ketrel were the Anurian Empire's glory, elite soldiers who rode giant hawks into battle. Now an age is ending, Warhawk members have plummeted, and the Empire's magical gates, which linked far-flung trade routes, have failed. Gwenna Sharp is one of the last Ketrel tasked with finding the Hawks' mythical nesting grounds. If she can restore their numbers, she'll return a champion, yet the route is perilous and failure will mean death. The Empire will also fragment without its gates unless a monk-turned-con artist can unlock their secrets. But the world's uncharted corners hide legendary dangers, and what Gwenna discovers will change everything if she survives. For within the southern lands, a malevolent force is stirring. So yeah, as I say, a big chunky one that I've been looking forward to for a while, and one that I'm hopefully going to have a really great time with. So as I say, kind of short in terms of the numbers of books, but certainly not in the page count, but a quite conservative TBR for May. We'll see how I get on with these, with the kind of the work balance thrown in there as well, and then dip into my TBR jar if necessary once I come to the end of them. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of these titles, if you've read any of them, and what are you looking forward to reading in May as well. I'll hopefully catch you in the next video sometime soon. Until then though, as always, take care of yourselves, read some good books. Bye for now.